Привет, comrades, and welcome back to the Podcastariat. I'm Alexei Monyevich Ivanev, and here today with a very special October Revolution report. In this special edition of this show, we look back at the few years since our glorious revolution to get your opinion on the events since and during.
5 years ago, a glorious revolution began in Petrograd. Today, communism has spread to almost every corner of the former empire. The people of this city have experienced communism the longest, so we decided to get their opinions on how everything is turning out.
Comrades, since the revolution, how has your life changed?
I like the official government. Until they kept us in the war and did little to fix our economic woes. I already participated in the first revolution in the round of strikes against the Tsar back in February, and I thought things would improve then. But it took another round of strikes, a close call with Kornilov, and more fighting in the city for the final revolution to occur. Since then, things have grown quieter, the war is over, and all the threats from the whites to Petrograd are all but destroyed. For me, life is better under communism. Fighting has ceased in the streets, I'm paid more, my kids are learning to read. I would say communism has fixed Russia.
Very well, comrade.
Indeed, this sentiment is shared amongst most of the working populace. The evolution is a passing thought to most in Russia, with it goes Comrade Lenin's shaky wartime communist measures which to most left life quite difficult. Now that we end this chapter of our history, the people of Petrograd are seen singing and dancing in the streets once again. Their house is safe and bellies full.
Speaking of wartime measures, as we mark this special anniversary, we look back at the tumultuous period of war that defined the actions of so many of our comrades as we worked towards communism in this country.
The Great War took much from us, but it also contributed to opening our eyes towards the Tsar's weakness. I see that good working men to the death, battle after battle. Under him, and led to the bourgeois provisional government, 2 million men and women from this very nation lost their lives fighting an imperialist capitalist war. Upon Comrade Lenin's ascension in 1918, nobody pulled us from this great war. However, our battles would continue to rage against separatists and the whites. Yet at last the peace is felt here in Western Russia. After enduring threats on the revolution's heartland from Yudenich, Denkin, Kornilov, Wrangel, and the Polish invasion, there's a lot of peace on our plains. 1 year after the signing of the Treaty of Riga, our prize reporter, Leon Mikhailov Madayev, finds himself in the namesake city to get the citizens' opinions.
Привет, comrades. Glory to the revolution. Today, Riga is a mess. There is much social divide between the capitalists and the workers. The majority elected Social Democratic Party is being oppressed by the capitalist coalitions, leading to no revolution. Today, we'll be interviewing the average Latvian worker on their opinion on the current social government. So, comrade, what are your opinions on the current state of the government?
Es esmu latviesis, es esmu kurāja latvieski. Es esmu neatkarīga latvieski. Latvia, number one!
Clearly, the sorry nation and its workers need to be guided by the lights of our glorious comrade Lenin. We will make a promise to free this nation and make sure the workers stand tall, free, and against capitalism.
The situation in Latvia is truly tragic. Anyways, as previously mentioned, the white movement has been all but dispatched in the east. As of the last month, Vladivostok has been recaptured and only small resistance remains in Central Asia and Yakutia. Coming to us on the banks of the Lena River, Leon Madayev, using the collectivized Trotsky-approved Trans-Siberian Railway, made it from Riga to the Far East in under 5 minutes, bringing us a special report from the last resistance of the whites.
The Far East has long been the whites' base of operations throughout this war, having initially been supplied by the imperialist powers on the Pacific such as the British, Canadians, and Americans. However, the recent Japanese withdrawal last week has left General Pepelayev alone in his aspirations, while reports from Okhotsk of his march towards Yakutsk, his severely undersupplied army is sure to make up the last deaths of the civil war.
On that hopeful note, we go to our political discussion segment, where we'll take a look at more pertinent issues concerning current events. Today's guest speaker, Foma Avramovich, is an economist from Moscow who joins us now.
Hi Thomas, welcome back to the economic section. Today we'll be discussing the new economic plan and whether it has been effective over the past year. Over the past 5 years, The civil war has ravaged our country and all of us citizens have suffered. The government repeatedly promised to give us supplies and food every few months. However, they repeatedly failed to uphold the promise. Our livestock were taken away and our production were reduced. In fact, the production in factories has also fallen every year to the point where we're no longer able to sustain our economy. This demonstrated that the Marxist economic philosophy is ineffective and unable to feed a nation of people. However, recently our government signed a treaty with Germany to establish economic relations. This means in the future, the economics should be on the uprise. But we must remember as a nation that Germany, during the Civil War, not only refused to help us, actually supported the whites, which led to the deaths of millions of citizens. This is why we can never trust the Western bourgeoisie to help us, and we only use them when they're convenient. They provide intervention in our country, but really, they're supporting the evil Mensheviks who only want to preserve their own power.
Yes!
This is why we must spread the Soviet Revolution across the world. Down with bourgeoisies!
Yes!
Now, I'm not saying that bourgeoisies has no fault in our deaths. When the people are starving, the Kremlin chose to prioritize maintaining control of the country and maintaining power instead of the people. They used a secret police to suppress dissent, and they killed millions of citizens that disagreed with the government. These pigs of the government killed the heroes who chose to speak up for the people and protect the scums that serve their wishes. Even the provisional government from before was done better than this, and we as citizens cannot possibly forget the failure. This is why we had a constant rebellion that was a warning to the Kremlin to show us that the people are not willing to sit and deal with mistreatment.
You are okay with this? You sure you want to say this?
Okay, it'll be okay, Kremlin. But in the face of uprising, Lenin and Trotsky introduced new economic policy, and that is an amazing policy that provided a perfect solution for everything economic in the CCCP. This takes us to where we are today, where government is moving away from pure communism, is providing small businesses opportunities to flourish, the supply of food is stabilized, restrictions are loosened, and we are actually able to have ownership of our own land. This means that production every year has been on a rise, this means that factory production are going up, and we're finally catching up with the imperial Western superpowers.
Yes.
This means that soon enough, communism will defeat the Germans, defeat the French, defeat the British, and become the biggest power in the world. This means, now, with the new economic policy, we are actually allowed to have private enterprise, just like in capitalism. We are allowed to own our own land, just like in capitalism. This means that we're moving away from the slightly failure of the pure Marxist society, and we're moving toward a bigger society where we're able to defeat all the Western powers. Now, that government is making a lot of changes right now, and we may think these changes are good, but I want to point out that the government only ever wants to keep its power. It's because that the people are uprising that the government is willing and able to make these changes. But I predict that in the near future, hear me out, in the near future, these reforms will regress, and we must uprise again, and we must go against the government.
Capricion. Qu'est-ce que tu deviens? Simple cool lads. Comrade Lenin is best leader. Lenin number one. Russia number one. Communism number one.
Well, that's all we have time for today. We here at the Podcastariat hope everyone is enjoying this special day in accordance with communist values. For now, we say goodbye and glory to Marx. Spasiba.